Hello, my name is Danny Green and I'm a mixed media artist that specializes in stained glass. Today I'm going to be talking about how I found my art style and share some advice on how I think you can find yours. Finding your art style as an abstract artist is a totally different ballgame than people who make realistic art. We see so much abstract art out there and a lot of times it looks really similar to each other. We see work and we immediately compare it to one of the greats. Basquiat, Mitchell, de Kooning, Go. We can tell that these artists took inspiration from them, but we're not exactly sure where they made it their own necessarily. What makes a piece of work authentic? What makes your art style different than everyone else's? Can you even make art that is unique and different in 2023? And I personally think yes, can make unique art that has a specific style that says you immediately in 2023.
I'm very excited.
Show me how excited you are.
To be completely honest, I don't remember ever thinking to myself about how I can find my own art style while I was on my artist journey. I do feel like at this point, I do have a distinct art style and a look to my work that's distinguishable as mine. My style was something that I was gravitating toward, and it was a place that I kind of settled in after a lot of experimentation. In 2017, I was on a bit of a mosaic kick, and I was experimenting a lot with mosaics and I was posting a lot of that on Instagram, and some of what I made was great and some of what I made honestly was really not that good. One of these experiments resulted in a 6x6 inch piece that I just loved. This was one of the first pieces that I was like, this is the kind of work that I want to make. And I posted on Instagram and it got the biggest response that I'd had thus far, and people were really liking the piece. One person actually asked if it was for sale. Because the piece was so special to me, I did decide that the piece was not for sale. That I made 2 more pieces based on that original piece. And those 2 pieces, to be honest, I did not really like. I don't feel like they were very successful, but there was something about that first piece that resonated. I felt like there was something there to explore. I decided to go back to the original piece and recreate it, but this time bigger. I went to Home Depot, got a piece of plywood and brought it back home. I'm sitting with the piece of plywood propped up against my wall and I'm looking at it and I'm feeling really intimidated by this big canvas that I have. Sitting there just looking at it, I start to notice the beauty of the wood grain pattern in the wood, and the fact that the wood grain is like these lines that flow from the knots in the wood and create this sense of flow and energy. And I decide that the best way for me to approach this big piece is to honor the beauty of the actual substrate or the material that I'm working with, and to honor the time that it took for these wood grain patterns to appear. I'm going to use Mir to trace the wood grain pattern, and then I'm going to use the original color scheme of the small mosaic to flesh out or build up the rest of the piece. So I come home every day from work and I set to work. I start cutting up all the Mir, cutting up all the rest of the glass, gluing it one by one onto this board. After about a month, I have all the glass adhered to the board and it's time to grout. And as I'm wiping away the grout, I start to actually tear up and I start to cry, and it's because I had never created something that I found this beautiful. It felt surreal to have created something that even I was in awe. It was a sense of extreme joy and extreme connection to something that was almost beyond me. In this moment that I knew that this was special, that this was truly the medium for me. I had to make more work like this. This was working. And so I made Currently Water, I made Currently Honey, and I made this, and I made this, and then I made this. I just kept making. Started to explore new adaptations of the original inspiration of Current. And that's the story of how I found my style, how I ended up here. But how do you find your style? Let's break it up into 3 actionable steps. Teacher hat is on, and I am giving you guys homework. All right, Chapter 1, limit yourself. Boundaries or rules for your creative world. These limitations could be in terms of medium, size, subject matter, color, or tool. The homework for chapter 1 is to decide on a 3-part series where you create a body of work that is the same medium, size, subject, color scheme, and production time. I recommend starting with materials that you already own and to work quickly and small. Chapter 2, know your medium. Some research on your favorite medium or whatever medium you're currently using. Start with 3 options: YouTube, Facebook groups. I recommend talking to art store or hardware store professionals. When I was first starting out, I went to the hardware store a lot. I recommend going to smaller art stores or hardware stores because those people are a lot more accessible. Read books about your favorite artists, learn about their art style, try different brands of your favorite art materials. The homework for chapter 2 is to watch 3 YouTube tutorials on a specific medium, explore videos that provide in-depth information about the physical properties of this medium. For example, how stained glass is made, how oil paint is made. Chapter 3, share your work. Tell people what you've made. You can start with a Facebook group or make an Instagram page or just share your artwork with people that are supportive in your life. Your parents, your siblings, your partner. Learn to listen to what people are saying without judgment. You don't have to go home and do exactly what they said, but you also don't have to immediately dismiss what they said just because they aren't artists themselves. Homework for chapter 3 is to find 3 artists on Instagram that have work that you admire. Follow them. What about their work do you admire? What is something about their artwork that you would like to explore in your own work? Could it be the way that they use the color red in their work, how they use found objects, or maybe just the way that they write about their work in the caption? This is the perfect way to get critical when it comes to your progress. So, to conclude finding your art style, how to find your art style and how I found my art style honestly can be boiled down to make a lot of work. But make a lot of work within a framework. Make a lot of deliberate work. Create a deliberate practice is gonna look different for you and your medium. I know for abstract artists, it is quite a different process to try to distinguish yourself and make work that truly feels authentic. I'm excited for your journey. I'm excited to see what you guys make. And I hope that these homework assignments give you something actionable that you can put into place starting today, starting this week. I recommend that you tie all 3 of these homework assignments together. I think that it's very easy for you to start this 3-part series based maybe on an Instagram artist that you found and really researching that specific medium that you choose to use. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, leave a like. Peace, love. Thanks for tuning in.